Alright students, from today we are going to start our paper 6, which is also known as Alternative to Practical or ATP. There are numerous kind of questions that come into this paper. Keep in mind that this paper contains 40 marks and you have to solve this paper in 1 hour. So today we are looking into only two type of questions that often come into these papers. These two questions are, first is the drawing of an image, that you will be provided with an image and you will have to draw it. So keep in mind that drawing here in this paper is not just drawing. There are rules that we have to follow to get the marks. The other question that we will look into in this lesson is comparison between the specimen. You will be given different specimen. It may be of seeds, it may be of flowers or leaves or structure of bones. It can be anything, two specimens, and you will have to make comparison between them. So now one by one we are looking into these two questions, the rules that are to be followed to solve these two questions. First, let's discuss how we have to draw the images. So the first rule to draw an image in this paper is to use a soft pencil, and it will also be used for labeling as well. So you see, you don't have to use an ink pen or any marker or color pencil. You will simply use a soft pencil. The second rule is that you have to keep in mind that your lines, the outline must be clear, clean and continuous. Faint outlines will not be accepted, nor you have to make a fuss of it, and no dirty lines should be there. There should be no broken outlines. The lines should be clear, continuous and clean. The other rule is not to shade. See, I have shown you a diagram here, which is a cross section of a lemon. You can see in the diagram the shape of it is slightly shaded, but whenever you have to draw it, you will never shade. So this is a very strict rule that there should be no shading in your drawing. The next rule is that you cannot use colored pencils. You don't have to use crayons, markers, or colored pencil. A simple soft pencil is required. No coloring or decoration is required. The other rule is that what should be the size of that image. So sometimes under the in the question you are being given the magnification that you have to increase the size of the image this much. Sometimes expression is written that you have to make a large diagram. So what we actually mean by making a large diagram, it is that you have to make a larger image which is being provided to you. Whatever the image is given, you just have to make sure that you enlarge it a little. A little means that you have to occupy about 75% of the space that you have been provided. So this is what we mean by making a large diagram. But if you are not being given this instruction that you have to make a large diagram, then draw a diagram of reasonable size, and about 75% of the space provided should be used. If a magnification is given, or you are being given the instruction that how many times you have to magnify the image, then you will have to stick to that. Then you cannot do anything you want. Then the diagram that you are drawing should be proportionate. Proportionate means that if you are increasing the length, you will have to increase the width sidewise. You will have to increase it in the same manner as you have increased the length. For instance, if I have increased the length by 2 centimeter, I will have to increase the width by 2 centimeter also. So keep in mind that whatever the increase you are making, it should be in all dimensions. The diagram should be looking proportionate. The next rule is to draw what you see and not what you know already. For instance, if you see in this diagram, you have been given a climbing bean and a groundnut. You can clearly see that the number of seeds in the climbing bean is 4 and that in the groundnut is 3. And we also know that this is not a hard strict rule that every time a climbing mean would have 4 seeds. But when you are given a diagram, when you are replicating it, you will have to draw whatever you are watching in the image, you are seeing in the image. You don't have to put your own information into that pod. So if this pod or the fruit is containing 4 seeds, when you will draw this fruit, you will make only 4 seeds. Here, if you are given or being asked to draw this groundnut, you will make only 3 seeds. Also, you can see the details of the seeds that these are apart. They are not close together while these are sticking with each other. So whatever detail you see, you will have to replicate as it is. You don't have to make any changes in that. So always draw what you see. You do not have to draw what you already know or may know. Drawing an image sometimes also require labeling it. So leave sufficient space at the sides of your diagram for labeling and write a title at the bottom of each drawing. So now we have to see how we have to label the diagrams. Always label neatly and legibly. If a label consists of more than one word, write in one line. Write labels horizontally, spacing out your labels neatly. Labeling lines should never cross each other, and most of the time in the mark scheme, you have to label 2 parts of that image to get 1 mark. So keep in mind that as much as you know, label all the parts if you are not being asked to label specific parts. If you are being asked to draw the image and label it, try to label as many parts or as many structures you know, so that there will be no risk of the losing of the marks. Always use a scale to sketch your label line. This is the example of how you can label your diagrams. If you can see here, I have placed clear, continuous, scaled lines here to label my diagram, and none of these label lines are crossing each other. And sometimes what happens is that you have to mark a region to show a label. For instance, in this case, we have a teeth, and this part is called the crown or the enamel of the teeth. So when you have to label a larger region, do like this, make a bigger bracket and then label your part, whatever that part is. In this case, if you can see, the crown is being labeled, so you will draw a little bracket here and then you will write the crown. Here on the other side, you can write the root. Now let's practice these diagrams, how to make diagrams by having some references from your past paper. This first question is taken from the paper of May-June 2018. The variant is 6-2. You can see that the question requires to make a drawing of this tooth in the space given. Now you see that it has been indicated that you have to make a large drawing. It means that whatever the size of this teeth is, you have to enlarge it and use the space provided. Almost 75% of the space must be used. Again, I'm telling you in this diagram, if you can see, there is a slight shading here. You don't have to shade in the diagram, in the image that you will make. Whenever you are drawing, do not shade. And when here you can see there is no labeling required, no instruction of labeling is required, so don't label it as well. Whatever you are being asked, that just do that. You are being asked to make a large drawing of this tooth in the space provided below. So whatever the space is provided here, no, I haven't made the space here just to, I'm just giving you the reference of the questions. So whatever the space is given, just draw your diagram there and make sure that you use approximately 75% of that space. Again, I'm telling you that do not draw what you know, just draw what you see. So whatever you are looking at, just replicate that. Here in this diagram, you are being asked to make a large diagram of this section in the space below. On your drawing, label the vascular tissue. So now if you see here, you are being given the section through the root of a carrot plant. This is from the November paper 2017. The variant is 6-2, and you are being given here a section of a carrot plant, the root of the carrot plant, and you are being asked to label vascular tissues. Now if you see, the vascular tissues are not clearly made here. There is a darker portion at the center of this diagram, and we know from our knowledge of transport and flowering plants that vascular bundles are present just right in the center of the root. So we can delimitate the area. We can draw a circle here to show that the vascular bundles are present in this area, and then you can sketch a label line and write vascular tissues. And also again, the rule is to be followed here that you do not have to shade. Only focus on the outline, that your outline must be drawn with a pencil. The outline must be continuous, clear, and not broken. And then you have to make a circle here to show that the region of the vascular bundles is here, and then sketch a label line and write vascular tissues. Now we are moving forward to our second question, that is the comparison between the two specimens. Solving this question is quite easy. You just have to focus on the details given in the two specimens, and then you have to see the similarities and difference. Whatever the differences you see, you can write that, and whatever similarities you see, you can write that. Let's practice this question by some of the question given in the past papers. This question is taken from October-November 2012 paper. The variant is 6.2. You have been shown section of two bean fruits, a climbing bean and a groundnut. And you are being asked to describe three ways in which the groundnut fruit is different from the climbing bean fruit. So what three difference we can make is that the climbing bean fruit is elongated, while the groundnut is shorter, or widthwise it is more. Then we can write the number of seeds. The number of seeds in the climbing bean are 4, while in the groundnut they are 3. The third difference can be that the seeds are apart here, they are not joined together, while they are closely packed in the groundnut. This question is taken from October-November 2013 paper, and the variant is 6.1. The question says that when shoots are cut from plants, the leaves soon begin to wilt. Figure 2.1 shows two similar shoots cut from the same type of plant. Immediately after cutting, the cut end of the shoot D was placed in a beaker of water, and the cut end of the shoot E was placed in an empty beaker. So now you are being shown the shoot D and E, and you are being asked to describe two differences between shoot D and E as they are being shown in the figure 2.1. So what we can tell is the condition and the stages that we see, the condition and the shape of the shoot that we see here. If you see here, this shoot D is not wilted and the direction of the leaves is upward. On the other hand, the shoot E is wilted and the direction of the leaves is drooping, or you can say they are downward. So here we can make two differences. One is the facing or the position of the leaves, and then we can write the condition of the shoot. The direction of the leaf in shoot D is upward and the direction of the leaves in shoot E is downward. The condition of the shoot D is erect or extended, it is not wilted, while shoot E is wilted since it was placed in an empty beaker.